I didn't think there'd be any more measures made in this matter because it's 27 years old and all the nets can't really impact me. Y'all, at the end of the day, you all see, and you'll know what it is. You know the track record. Do you feel like Puffy owe you? Yeah. I think he should look out. And you look out for everybody. You know what I'm saying. You have to be curious to what they raided his house about. Keithy was doing a lot of speaking. How we say a lie could go on for 1,000 years. But one day the truth will come out. Well, it seems today might finally be that day, as new reports have just been released about 2Pac's murder case. The man who appears to be the liar in the middle of all this scene, Diddy Combs, seems to have been caught with his pants down, and the authorities might finally be swooping in on him. This whole thing is a big deal, because unless you've been living under a rock, you definitely know how deep 2Pac's murder story runs with Diddy, while the record executive seems to have evaded authorities for allegedly committing that crime. It seems he's finally run out of luck, and the police are staring with his old associates. There's a lot to unpack here, so just stay glued, everybody. Already having the in the back of their mind, like that you had something to do with it. Like it basically evident. It's been almost 3 years since he lost his life, and his case was shelved. But today, the story of 2Pac's murder is back at the center of the media. And it's finally come with answers. This is good news, not just for the fact that the crime has gone unanswered for decades, but the other aspect to it is that the updates about the case are pointing to the man that was already considered everyone's prime suspect. And it's none other than Diddy, from regular bystanders all the way to celebrities. Almost everyone that had connections with 2Pac and was around at the time of his murder has linked it to Diddy to it in one way or the other. For scientific testing, these theories actually check out, because Diddy seemingly had the most to gain from the rapper losing his life. And if there's intended motive on the table, what more do you need to convince you? I couldn't imagine what was being held on to all this time for them to be so curious that they wanted to go raid the spot. Thankfully, there are actually more details that suggest Diddy might have truly been involved, because authorities allegedly found evidence on one of the rapper's old associates, who also happened to be around POC on the night of his murder, according to the Daily Mirror. Forensic experts will analyze bullets found at Dwayne Keith D. Davis's residence to establish whether they are linked to 2Pac's death. While executing a search warrant at the Henderson, Nevada residence of Keith D's wife, Paula Clemens, last week, Las Vegas police recovered several .40 caliber bullets. Yeah, they said when they raided his house, they found magazines with popcorn on the cover and laptops, hard drives, weed, everything. Man, I saw shell bullets. And a former member of the Southside Compton Crips. According to the news currently, Keith D is the uncle of Pac's alleged killer, Orlando Anderson, and has admitted to playing a hand in the rapper's 1996 death on multiple occasions. A former Los Angeles Police Department investigator who worked on the 2Pac Shaker murder investigation informed news outlets that any ammo discovered during the police search could be meaningless unless the murder weapon was discovered first. Detective Greg Kading stated that the only way to prove whether or not the ammunition at his home is equivalent to the ammunition retrieved from the crime scene is to actually have the gun. This is the most significant development in the 2Pac murder case since the murder occurred. They never served a search warrant and showed up at someone's house with the SWAT team. A Las Vegas Police Department insider previously revealed to news outlets that police had recovered ammunition from a searched house in connection with 2Pac's murder. According to the source, the bullets recovered from the house will be tested by foreign experts. Of course, the most obvious question will be whether they have any connection to the bullets found in 2Pac's body or at the scene of the homicide, as police have recovered bullets and casings from the scene. The Glock gun itself was never discovered. Misconceptions about the status of the murder weapon have arisen as a result of a .40 caliber recovered in a Compton home garden in 1998. Authorities collected many laptops and iPads as well as what they described as a tub of images from Diane. The gun, however, was ruled out as a possible murder weapon. According to reports, ballistic tests were performed on the rifle, comparing casings discovered at the scene to the markings that the gun would create on shot rounds. These marks did not match. In an interview a few years ago, the self-proclaimed Compton kingpin began by explaining that he has cancer, which grants him immunity from prosecution, thus the reason for the confession. You stated the gunfire came from the back 20 years later. Who shot Tupac? Well, thank you for the cold in the streets. It just came from the backseat. Board Davis revealed that he was sat in the front passenger seat next to Terrence Brown, who was driving, while Dinder Smith and Davis's cousin, Orlando Anderson, were sitting in the back, all members of the gang, the Southside Crips. The 4 members were allegedly heading to Studio Nights, 662 Club Las Vegas, looking for Tupac, as the rapper had beaten up one of their fellow gang members earlier in the day. After Tupac never showed up, they abandoned the club, only to see him driving towards the club, standing out the top window. My partner, Busta U. Davis, tells the camera, "When we pulled up, I was in the front seat." Davis says the shots came from the back, but does not name the shooter, going to keep it for the code of the streets. It just came from the back seat, despite Davis saying he would not confess who murdered Tupac. He's spoken about it during a previous interview with the police. In the now-deleted tape, he claims Orlando Anderson shot the rapper. Anderson was an alleged Crips gang member, with who Shakur had a run-in earlier that night. After the boxing match, members of the entourage following night in Shakur's car even told police that Anderson fired the shots. Orlando Anderson, Kefiri's nephew, was involved in a confrontation with Tupac Shakur the night Tupac was shot. Anderson, however, was eventually killed in 1998 in an unrelated gang shooting, and no other leads emerged. He also denied killing Tupac. But word on the street is that Diddy might have just paid him to squash his beef with the All Eyes on Me rapper, and also remove the record executive's problems in one sweep anyway. Following Keith D's broadcast, the show's creator Kyle Long was interviewed by the Rap, saying that it's outrageous that Kefidi is not in jail, adding that it ultimately does not matter that he does not say who pulled the trigger. But it seems the authorities had an epiphany, because after those details came out, they decided to pursue that line. See reports from a couple of days ago confirmed that authorities got clearance to invade Kefti's home, and they did with their full force. No less. You have to be curious to what they raided his house about. Keith ID was doing a lot of speaking, according to the warrant obtained by the outlet. The police searched Davis's home, specifically looking at desktops and other electronic storage devices, including thumb drives, CDs, external hard drives, and audio recordings, among other things. The warrant allegedly revealed a Poqual USB drive, a black iPhone, 2 iPads, and a purple Toshiba laptop. The left declined to comment to Rolling Stone when asked specifically about Davis, instead reissuing their original statement, confirming a search warrant was issued after allegedly confirming additional details. "We will have no further comment at this time." The statement concluded, "Now what ties Diddy to this whole story is that he had the most to gain from Tupac's passing." Although according to Detective Kading, it seems there was more to Diddy's alleged involvement in the crime. From what he said, Diddy allegedly taking Pac out might have just been to get shoes off his back. He was in a precarious situation where Huge Knight was actively hunting him down. Huge held him responsible for the 1995 death of a friend in Atlanta. So there was this sense of desperation that Combs was working from. Kading claimed he said after Shakur's death, eventual Knight shelled out $13,000 to his own hitman, Bloods member Wardell Pochi Faust, to kill Smalls, an artist and friend of Diddy's, as retaliation. Now the problem with this is that the only way Diddy could have known Shuju would come after him is if he found out through someone in Suga's gang. And guess what gang? Heath D has been reported to have connections with. See why Diddy might be in trouble. Some people on the internet seem to believe Keith D's plan from the start. knowing he couldn't be prosecuted, was to lead authorities back to Diddy. One person with a similar perspective to this wrote this man willingly went in an interview and basically admitted to being part of the crime that was only a matter of time before it caught up with him. This news isn't as surprising as folk making it out to be.